If you're in Florida carrying more than $10,000 in credit card debt, you're a part of the 77% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck right now. But there's a specific Florida law that many people don't know about, and understanding it could protect you from costly mistakes. I'm going to show you exactly what it is and why it matters, but first, you need to understand the mistake that's costing Floridians thousands every single year. Hi, I'm Rob, a financial coach for more than 20 years. I get how confusing debt can feel, especially with so many sketchy ads out there. So I'm here to break down what's real and what's not, and how you can finally start taking control of your debt with confidence and clarity. Here's what most people don't realize. Florida has some of the strongest debt relief protections in the country, but there's one specific program that could work better than others depending on your situation. By the end of this video, you'll have an idea of the path that could save you the most money, and the answer might surprise you. So stick around, because in just a few minutes, I'll reveal the potential cost breakdown of each option so you can see which one is right for you. Remember that protection law that I mentioned? Well, understanding what it is and what it does is critical before you talk to any debt relief company, and it could even save you thousands. But people tend to make mistakes at this step, and their debt situation gets even worse. Here's why. Under Florida law, debt settlement companies can't charge you upfront fees, period. They can only get paid after they successfully negotiated and settled your debt. Scams like these are more common than you think, and they can sound pretty convincing. Imagine someone calls you promising to eliminate $25,000 of your debt if you just pay them 10% or $2,500 up front. It sounds like a good deal, so you pay it. But then the company disappears and your money is gone forever. This exact scenario plays out in Florida consumer protection cases constantly. So if a debt settlement company ever asks you for big upfront fees before doing any work, run, because that company is not legit. Here's another law to know if you're thinking about debt settlement. Florida has a 3-day cooling off period, which means you can cancel any debt relief agreement within 72 hours and get your money back. No questions asked and no penalties. So you can feel confident knowing you have time to weigh your options before making any final decisions. Okay, so those are the key Florida laws you should know if you're considering debt relief. But how do you know if you're even eligible for it? In Florida, most programs require at least $7,500 to $10,000 in unsecured debt. That's credit cards, medical bills, and personal loans, not your mortgage and not your car payment. And here's the sobering reality. According to the Achieve Center of Consumer Insights, the average American facing financial hardship is carrying $27,979 in debt. That's not just a number. That's real people struggling every day and in need of a way out. And if you're one of those people, a debt relief program could be a great solution. Here's the question most people ask at this point. How do I know if a debt relief company is actually licensed in Florida? Now, I'm going to show you exactly where to check in just a minute. But first, you need to understand the difference between debt management and debt settlement, because each has its own implication for your credit, and one may be a better choice than the other depending on your specific situation. What's been your experience with debt relief? Let me know in the comments if you've ever been contacted by a suspicious company or a scammer. Imagine this scenario. One person pays back $30,000 of debt in full and their credit score improves. Another person with the same amount of debt only pays back $18,000, but their credit score drops by 100 points. Why? Well, the answer lies in the difference between debt settlement and debt management. Let's say someone has $28,000 in credit card debt and enrolls in the debt management plan. 4 years later, they've paid off every penny, saved $9,200 in interest, and their credit score increased by 45 points. That's the power of keeping accounts current while reducing interest. Debt settlement is completely different. Picture someone with $32,000 in credit card debt who's already behind on payments. A debt settlement company negotiates with their credit card companies to get the balances down to $19,200, saving $12,800 before fees. Keep in mind, debt settlement companies do charge a fee for their service, but their credit score drops significantly during the process. Confused? Here's the key difference. In debt settlement, instead of struggling with multiple minimum payments, you typically make just one monthly program payment while you save money for settlement offer. That can absolutely take your credit. But if you're already behind on payments and facing potential lawsuits, it might be your best option. Here's a reality check from the Achieve Center of Consumer Insights. 43% of people seeking debt relief are either already behind on payments or just barely keeping up. If that's you, you're not alone. And debt settlement might actually be the more realistic path forward. Now, how do you know if a debt relief company is actually licensed in Florida? This is a critical step because there are a lot of predatory companies out there pretending to be legitimate. First, you should verify their registration with the state by searching the Office of Financial Regulation or the Department of Business and Professional Regulation. You should also check with the Better Business Bureau to see if they're accredited and have a good reputation. Which path would you choose? Comment management or settlement below based on which sounds better for your situation right now. The question I get asked more than anything else is, what about medical debt? Well, that's a completely different beast. And Florida actually has hidden programs that most people never hear about. So stay with me, because what I'm about to share could help eliminate thousands in medical bills. Picture this. Someone leaves the hospital owing $15,000 after having emergency surgery, but that amount gets reduced to $3,750. How? Well, there's a Florida medical debt relief program that most hospitals have, but almost never advertise. Here's how it works. Florida hospitals have charity care programs, sometimes called financial assistance programs, that can reduce or eliminate your medical bills if you meet their income requirements. And the limits are higher than you might think, up to 400% of the federal poverty line. That means a family of four earning around $120,000 per year might still qualify for reduced bills. The process typically works like this. Someone applies for financial assistance, submits proof of income, and qualifies for a 75% reduction. That's how a $15,000 hospital bill becomes $3,750. This happens every single day in Florida, but you have to know about the program and apply to get the benefit. Here's something else most people miss. As of 2025, medical debt under $500 doesn't appear on your credit report at all. And medical debts over $500 have a 1-year waiting period before it can hit your credit. And that's key if you have multiple types of debt and want to prioritize paying one over the other. And get this. According to the Achieve Center of Consumer Insights, 45% of people dealing with a financial hardship say medical expenses contributed to their debt situation. So if you're drowning in medical bills, you're definitely not the only one. It's an epidemic. Now, I know you're probably wondering, what if I don't have any medical debt? What if it's all credit cards? Does Florida have any government programs for that? Well, the answer is yes, but not in the way that you'd expect. But stick with me. Comment medical debt below if you didn't know about these charity care programs. So, is there government assistance for people with credit card debt in Florida? The reality is, Florida doesn't have any direct government assistance programs to pay off your debt. But there are government programs that can free up hundreds of dollars a month to put towards your debt. Here's how one strategy could accelerate your debt payoff by an entire year. If your income is 200% of the federal poverty level or less, you could qualify for SNAP benefits, which is food assistance, which could save about $400 a month on groceries. Add in LIHEAP utility assistance, and that's another $150 a month saved on electricity. In total, that's $550 per month that could go toward credit card debt instead of basic expenses. Over 1 year, you'd have $6,600 to pay toward debt. Here's why that matters. Research from the Achieve Center of Consumer Insights shows that 77% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck right now. So if you're barely scraping by, you know you're not just going to magically find extra money for debt payments. You might have to free up existing money first. Another important resource to know about is nonprofit counseling agencies. They exist throughout Florida and can help you reorganize your finances to help you find money you didn't know you had, often for little to no cost. Look for agencies accredited by the National Foundation for Credit Counseling or the Financial Counseling Association of America. They offer free consultations and won't pressure you. And if you qualify for HUD, you can take advantage of free credit counseling and debt management services through HUD. The key to making this strategy work is using these government resources to free up your cash flow, then attacking your debt strategically. Which brings me to another question everyone asks. How much is this going to cost me? Let me show you the exact numbers. But first, type yes in the comments if you want me to make a video breaking down how to apply for these government programs. So what's the average cost of debt relief in Florida? Well, depending on your specific situation and the path you choose, those numbers could be drastically different. Imagine this scenario. 3 people with the same $24,000 in debt end up paying 3 completely different amounts for debt relief services. One pays $600, another pays $6,000, and the other pays nothing at all. So who got the best deal? The answer might surprise you. Let's break down the actual costs. The first person goes the credit counseling route. Nonprofit agencies in Florida typically charge $0 to $50 for setup and then $25 to $75 a month for debt management plans. So if they stayed on that plan for about 8 months, they'd be looking at about $600 in fees. But keep in mind, that's in addition to the full $24,000 in debt that they need to pay down. The second person decides to do debt settlement. These companies charge 15 to 25% of the enrolled debt, but only after the debt is settled. So if they enrolled $24,000, they'd end up paying about $6,000 in fees once that debt was settled. But here's the key. If the debt relief company was able to negotiate a good settlement with their creditors, that person might end up paying less than the full $24,000 they originally owed, even with the fee. So how did the third person pay zero? Well, like the first person, they also went the credit counseling route, but only for the free consultation. After that, they decided to handle the debt on their own without enrolling in a formal program. But how does that work? Well, let me show you the complete roadmap and the exact steps to becoming debt-free in Florida, even if you choose to go it alone. Comment your total debt amount, even just a range if you're comfortable sharing. No judgment here, just support. Remember at the beginning when I said there's one specific program that might work better than others depending on your situation? Here's how to determine which one is right for you. Step 1, list out every debt, every creditor, balance, interest rate, and minimum payment. You can't fix what you don't measure. Step 2, check your eligibility. Most programs require $7,500 or more in unsecured debt and proof of financial hardship. Step 3, get a free consultation with a nonprofit credit counselor. They'll tell you honestly which option makes sense for your numbers. Step 4 is decision time. So ask yourself, am I still making payments and want to protect my credit? Debt management. Or am I already behind and struggling to keep up? Debt settlement. Or am I comfortable handling it on my own? Make a payoff plan and stick to it. Step 5, if you're not going it alone, choose a licensed company and verify their credentials with Florida's Office of Financial Regulation. And step 6, no matter which solution you choose, you have to commit for the long haul. Whether it's 3 years or 5, consistency always wins. Here's an example. A Tallahassee resident started with $35,000 in credit card debt, but then she chose a debt management plan, stayed committed for 4 years, and now she's completely debt-free. But more importantly, she built an emergency fund so she'll never be in that position again. What about you? What's your biggest obstacle with debt right now? Drop it in the comments below. So let's bring this full circle. Remember that Florida law I told you about in the beginning? That's your shield against scams. Never pay fees up front no matter what they promise you. And that 3-day cooling off period, that's your safety net if you have second thoughts. The choice between debt management and debt settlement, well, it comes down to whether you're still current on payments or already behind. Different situations, different solutions. Those hidden medical debt programs and government assistance resources, they're valuable tools that most people never use because they don't know they exist. And the cost? Now you know exactly what you're in for. Thousands of Floridians are becoming debt-free using these exact strategies, and now you can be one of them. Now, if this helped you, hit that subscribe button and smash that notification bell so you don't miss the next video where I'm breaking down bankruptcy alternatives in Florida, because sometimes the smartest financial moves aren't what you'd expect. And if you want to dive deeper into your specific debt situation, head over to freedomdebtrelief.com for free resources and tools. And remember, you've got this. Thanks for watching.